Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to episode 3 of It's Just Plain Cyber. And yeah, it's December, and we're going to do a Christmas one, but we're not going to play loads of Christmas music. We're just gonna be December, and we're going to look forward to Christmas. So I'm your host Terry German, and my co-host, as always, Steve Arnold.
Hello, guys. Hope everyone is well.
Yeah, good. We're going to be doing the podcast via audio, and we're going to be moving it onto video as well, so YouTube and things like that. So we'll
Yeah,
try and not sit here say, "Look at this, look at this, look at that," when people who are watching it audio wise can't understand what we're doing. So that's how we're going to explain that one. So episode 3 is going to be kind of light, talking about the festive period,
yeah,
things to watch out for,
yeah,
the things that we're noticing over December and you get caught out with.
yeah. Big period of the year, to be fair, especially with people buying so much online.
Yeah.
Pertinent topic in terms of something you wanted to bring up, Terry. So,
Mhm.
yeah. I don't know if you wanted to dive straight into that or
Yeah.
talk.
Well, we've got to do the professional stuff at the beginning. You've got to always have that professional stuff to show that we are kind of professional. So here we go. So this is our little disclaimer that we put on the beginning of every single episode. The views and opinions of myself and Steve are our own opinions and have no connection or relation to our current company or current employers or past employees. I was going to say future then, but we don't know, do we? Um, so so these are our own knowledge and views. So please don't think that we're talking about our current companies when we refer to this, and it's not coming from them; it's coming from us.
Yeah,
So
exactly. And for the just for the benefit of the people that are viewing on video now, we probably do need to show the Christmas jumpers, right?
yeah,
We,
well, I'll show mine. Mine's here. Mine's that one. So it's the one from Elf. So oh my God, Santa, I know him. That one. So that's mine. And yours is.
Yeah, but mine's backwards, unfortunately. Just the way that my laptop works. I don't know if you can see it, but Rick and Morty is one of my favorite TV shows. So anyone that has watched it will know the Let's Get Swifty episode. But that was it. We thought we why not
How
get
how
festive?
long's how long's Rick and Morty's been going then? Because I know it's around, but it's not something that I've really been interested in.
I
Because I'm
wouldn't.
a bit too old. I'm a bit too old for these children programs.
I turn 40 soon, so I'm not too young myself. Um, yeah, no, I'll be honest. I'm not entirely sure when the first episode was. I, I would hazard a guess around 8 years, seven
Really?
years. It's been around
All
a long
right.
time. Yeah, yeah. It's just yeah. It's quite a funny program. It does
Yeah.
take a slight. If it's not your sort of comedy, a lot of my friends are like, no, it's rubbish, but I quite enjoy it. So
Was it?
somebody
Is
brought
it? Would you say it's like Beavis and Butthead,
probably
or
with
it
a little
has a
bit.
little bit?
Well, the thing that I do enjoy about it is that there is, albeit loosely, an element of science behind it, which is a big
Mhm.
passion of mine. Studied science, physics, and chemistry at a higher level. So there too, and to see that turn into a little bit of humour, I enjoy. But sometimes some people don't find it as funny. It's kind of like I'd say if you crossed Family Guy with Beavis and Butthead, that's probably where it is.
Yeah, I think some of the mainly the American one, the American you can call it cartoons, but they try and make it so um, a young teenager can watch it and find it funny, and also adults can watch it and find it funny. Because that's the same with the
Yeah,
Simpsons as well. The Simpsons
yeah.
do that.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Um,
it, and they're kind of timeless for that exact reason. To this day, I mean, I wouldn't go out of my way to watch The Simpsons, but if there was nothing on and The Simpsons were on TV, I'd watch it. You know,
that's what Simpsons is the strangest thing because Bart's been 10 for about 30 years
yeah,
now.
yeah, they're doing something right,
They
aren't
don't
they?
never gets old. I want some of them tablets he's taking that keeps him so young.
I know, don't yeah, it's sleeping in the fountain of youth. Tell me about
Yeah,
it.
they do. So what have you been up to the last few weeks, Steve? And any exciting plans for the Christmas period?
Christmas. I mean, every year Christmas is it's a big thing for me and my family. We'll get together, whether it's Christmas Day or Boxing Day. It just depends on, because we have such a large family. And we play a lot of cards. Obviously, we eat and drink too much. It's more about just getting together as a family. There's my sister's got 4 daughters, so get them to see everybody, and then my cousins and stuff like that, they've got daughters as well. They live in other areas of the country, so we have like a hub around where we are now, that it's good to see the rest of the family. Me and my fiance, we will either have Christmas dinner at home on our own on Boxing Day or on Christmas Day, and then go and see the family the rest of it. But nothing particularly exciting. There isn't anything that exciting to do over Christmas, is it? Other than watch TV, spend time with family, and eat lots of
But
food.
you did say eating and drinking, but as we discussed in the last episode, that's the same every single weekend. We talked about Christmas dinner last time in the November episode, and it was and that's something you do every single day, and nothing else special happening around that period.
No, yeah, you keep mentioning it, don't you? I don't want to bring it up too much, but yeah, it is my 40th birthday on the 23rd.
Steve, you don't look very 40, do you, Steve? Oh, that's very nice of people to say that.
I certainly feel it these days. I certainly feel it. But yes, I do indeed turn 40 in about a week's time, I guess. And
right.
and I'll yeah, again, probably be avoiding the fact that I'm turning 40.
Yeah, you'll have to
We'll be going out for a meal somewhere, I think.
Yeah, you'll have to update us on that one in the January episode, and let us know how will get on.
I'll probably still be hungover the January episode.
yeah, we almost fully will.
That's the joy. That is the joy of turning 40, unfortunately.
Yes, it's a big number. It's got a 0 at the end. It's always a big number.
It is. What are you doing for Christmas, Terry?
Christmas, right? I'm going to see my parents down in Liverpool, or in Southport, because that's where all my family are from. We're going to spend a couple of nights there, and then we're going to my partner's sisters, who lives down in Portsmouth. So we usually go there between Boxing Day and 31st of December. And her 2 brothers turn up. One brother lives in Spain, so he comes over, and the other one lives in Birmingham. So we all travel down there, have a few days. It's good, really nice.
Local to me, then, if it's Birmingham.
Yeah, so he lives in King's Heath.
Yeah, know it very well.
Yeah, and hopefully, when I say hopefully, my son will pop up, because he lives on his own place now, and he lives alone, and he likes his alone life. Doesn't want too much entertainment. So we had him up. We had him up at mine last Christmas. So I don't think we'll see him this Christmas Day, but we'll see him over the Christmas period. But yeah, it's very exciting. And then again, the football games thick and fast over the Christmas period. No break.
I know you gave me a little bit of grief about who I supported in our last episode, so I won't bring it up again. What I'll do is I'll bring it up at the end of the season when we're top of the league.
Yeah. Okay. We'll just leave that one there. So for all those people that aren't into football, we'll just leave that one there, or soccer, as the Americans call it.
Actually, weirdly, soccer was a term invented by the English, but it was adopted by the Americans. But now we give them grief for using it.
That's an interesting fact. That's better than the fact you left at the last one, which you.
I got it wrong, didn't I? I didn't even deliver it correctly. Soccer is a term that was invented by the English. There you go.
Oh, right. There we go.
There's your rubbish.
There's our friendly start off to this episode. So let's go. What we going to talk about this episode, Steve? Making it light and easy to follow.
We are touching on phishing, probably less so social engineering, but very much phishing. I think pertinent topic, obviously, around the Christmas holiday, people using the internet to buy things, probably largely, I'd imagine, avoiding the high street as much as possible, like most of us. So it was certainly a topic that I thought you could offer some insight into, and perhaps I can offer some insight into. Perhaps I've certainly become aware of it in terms of people that we know that has happened to them recently, or attempts anyway. So Over to you, sir.
Yeah, it all comes under social engineering, and you'll be surprised to know there's 22 different types of phishing or social engineering. Now we only are aware. Well, when we say we only know about this phishing, and any email relating to phishing, everyone calls it the same thing, but there's lots of different ones. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to pull a couple of that you may experience within your business world or
Yeah.
in your personal world,
Mhm.
and try and get people understanding what is the difference and how we can help doing that. So if we go for the first one, which is phishing, spelled with a PH,
Yeah.
and what that is you receive an email and it has a link on it or it has an attachment that you click on or you open. But the difference that I experience in my role in my company is getting people to understand what is a phishing email and what isn't a phishing email. Now, I put things down in three categories when we come to phishing, in reference to an email. Is you have the phishing one, which is a suspicious, malicious email. You have a marketing email, and you have spam. Right. So your marketing email can come across as spam and can make you think of it as a phishing email.
Yeah.
So the way I try and get people to understand is phishing emails are mainly an email asking you to enter personal details or credentials. So if you get an email saying, say it's from Microsoft, or pretending to be Microsoft, and they say, "Oh, your account has expired. To reset your password, could you please click on this link and enter in your username and password?" Now, most companies, unless you've actually asked for your password to be reset, won't
Yeah.
send you an email with it on. So you
Yeah.
may have received an email saying that, "Oh, please enter your credentials or your personal information or your bank details," something like that. Banks won't send you an email with details on it. So these are the first things I get people to understand, and the first way you look at the email. What is the email asking you for? And this is where the confusion comes with marketing emails. Now, marketing emails can be a right pain in the backside, especially when you don't know the company.
Yeah.
And what I try and tell people, and if you most of experienced marketing emails coming through in your
100%.
line of work.
Yeah.
So marketing emails are like somebody selling a product, or there's an event you possibly could be interested in. But what people get confused of, they don't recognize the company, they've never seen the company, never asked for it. So in my business, they click on a phishing email button, which reports the email to IT or reports it to me.
Yeah.
And what I go back to these people is and get them to understand is you may not have asked to be put on the contact list, but you may have done on another website, and that little tick box in the bottom corner that says opting in or opting out,
Hmm.
if you select that, or by default you're automatically in and you don't select it, that also says, and if you read it, it says you, by ticking this or by opting in, it gives you permission, it gives us permissions
To
to
share your
send
details.
your email address off to
Yeah.
third parties. You
Yeah.
won't know what these third parties are, and this is where we're talking about third party risk as well in the past episode. You
Sure.
don't know who them companies are, so by ignoring it or just ticking it, you give them authority to send it off, and that could be off to somewhere else. And then
Hmm.
you'll just get hit with loads of emails from other companies
Hmm.
saying, do you want to use this event?
Hmm.
If it's a proper marketing email, at the bottom of the email there should be an unsubscribe button or
Yeah.
remove.
Yeah.
Now, as we go along in life, we tell everybody not to click on links. People get very scared of clicking on links. So that's it. So before we go on to anything else, and I sit here talk away, have you experienced such things like that, Steve, in your area, in your recruitment area?
Not even just in that, just in everyday life, you get them all the time, and it's something that with all done, we get not pre-programmed, but we get so used to clicking, even when you're trying to buy something or whatever, you get so used to clicking that little box at the bottom that says I accept terms and conditions, and then there's normally a box just underneath that which you've just referenced that says you're happy for us to send you marketing or whatever, and people don't look into that one. And I do it myself. I do it all the time. And this is where this starts. Now, I think some of you touched on there is that some of them are a little bit more obvious to ignore, if you like, particularly if it's a company you've not seen. But when they start becoming from organizations that you are familiar with or you do use, that's where it becomes problematic, which I'm guessing is probably where you're about to lead to.
Yeah, and we can't. I can't in my role. I can't expect every single person in whatever business I'm in to be a cybersecurity expert and know how to determine what an email, phishing email is. But the biggest problem, and I try and keep away from it, is asking people to click on a link to sort something out, and then in an email further down the road telling them not to click on a link. So,
Mm,
and that's it. And now the hackers, or the whatever you want to call them, are getting really tough to spot.
mhm.
Is when you get emails from so-called Barclays or
Yeah,
Microsoft or
banks are a
Amazon or
great
things.
example.
Yeah, Amazon, that you know Barclays exists, you know Halifax exists, you know
Yeah.
Santander exists, you know Amazon exists, eBay. So these are all the companies you go must be real because they're a real company. If you got an email from business ABC, you'd be thinking, I don't know what business ABC is, so I'm gonna report it as a phishing email, or I'm gonna put it in my junk or block the sender.
Hmm.
But it's when it comes through um, legitimate businesses that you think are legitimate businesses, and it's quite hard to do it while people are listening audio wise, and people can see us doing it, see us talking about it. But when you move your cursor over the sender or over a link, it will tell you where it's going to.
Yeah.
So if it's Barclays, if I use Barclays as an example, you got www.barclays.co.uk for the UK one. And if you hover over it and it says www.onebarclays.co.uk,
Hmm.
you suddenly start thinking that doesn't look right.
Hmm.
So if you get an email, and we're using Barclays as an example, but if you get an email from Barclays saying your password has expired, or we need you to confirm your details, click on this link. What I always say to people is, if you hover over the link and it doesn't look right, don't click on it. Go straight to your Barclays app that you have and you use, or the Barclays website, log in that way. And if it is that your password needs to be rewritten or your credentials need to get changed, you will get a pop-up then.
Yeah.
If you don't trust what the email says, don't try and go to where the email says it's coming from, Amazon and things like that. So
Yeah, and I don't really. I suppose that's probably the next level up that we started with, and then they are getting more and more sophisticated. Like
yeah.
I've seen examples whereby they're using even just slightly different characters.
Mm,
Different type of not Roman numerals, but different types of the alphabet in terms of the letter A, which you wouldn't even spot.
yeah.
Not, and I don't mean capital A, lowercase a. There's a slight differentiation between the way that A is written in different types of alphabet. I'll be honest, I
Yeah.
totally forget off the top of my head, and that's a lot harder to spot. And then
It is.
the other one I wanted to address was also the one from my friends I've had, which I mentioned to you previously, just recently, was my friends have had it from Booking.com, and that they've had messages from the actual app, but that insinuates perhaps there's been some sort of breach with the website in question. But
Hmm.
my advice to people would always be, if you are unsure, go to Google, find their head office, whatever the contact phone number is,
Yeah.
and call them. And
Yeah.
if you call them from that number, then you should get a response. But it is getting harder and harder to spot, and I guess you've probably got some examples yourself as well.
Yeah. And as we're talking about this Christmas period, and I've just
Yeah.
sent an email out to all our employees in my company, and I've literally started the email saying, I know it's November. I know it's I know it's November. I know it's just gone through Halloween, or we've just gone through bonfire night, and we're talking about Christmas at the beginning of December. But it's to make people aware that just to keep it out, keep it in the front of their minds. Because when Christmas comes around on the festive period, as soon as we hit December, we're in December now, but as soon as we hit December, everybody's attitude slightly changes. Everyone comes a bit lighter. Everyone's looking
Yeah.
forward to Christmas.
Yeah.
Emails will come in, and you won't give them as much attention as you did last time because you're about to have a week off on holiday, and
Yeah.
and even when you come back after the Christmas period and you're in the Christmas New Year period time, you'll come back and you'll look at emails, and because you've had a great Christmas and you look forward to New Year, you'll click on something that you wouldn't normally click on. So it's keeping people understand that just because with Christmas, nothing. One of the quotes I put out on the email I sent is, don't give hackers their perfect Christmas. You wouldn't give your
Yeah.
personal details out for free, so don't give them out. If it doesn't look right, report it. And this is what we keep telling people to make them aware that even though it's Christmas period and you may have some time coming off, hackers don't have time coming off. They don't have time. This is the perfect time.
Yeah, their time ramps up 100%.
Yeah,
People have got so
and
much going on that their due diligence would perhaps wane a little bit because of how much is going on in their life.
yeah. So and the big thing is, once you click on it, if it is a suspicious email or a suspicious link, and you click on it and you open, you enter up your details, you may get a screen when you've entered Terry German or whatever, and you're on your password, and you've clicked on go or submit. You may get a white screen or a blank screen or something that says page not found, and you'll think to yourself, "Oh, phew, that doesn't work." But they could already be in now.
Yeah.
And that's why we always tell people, not just in work world, but in personal world, make sure your antivirus is all up to date. Make sure you've got some kind of protection. If you've got some kind of protection and they get through, unfortunately, there's nothing really more you could have done. The easiest way, and I say this way, the best way to protect against phishing is to turn your laptop off. But
Yeah.
in
It's the only
in,
way to
in the
stop it
yeah
happening.
yeah in the world we live in today, our life revolves around the internet. So that's quite a tough thing.
I would imagine part of your job, Terry, would revolve around also, say revolve around, part of your job would be MDM, mobile device management, the security
Hmm.
around that. So if we're moving away from laptops, because let's be honest, that's not the only way that people try and get hold of you, try and get hold of your credentials, your information, stuff like that. Is you'll get the phone calls or that sort of stuff. But there's been I say a really convincing. It has got some people, of course, otherwise it wouldn't still be going around. But it's the text message that's been going around. Hi, mum, or hi, dad. I've lost my phone. Blah blah blah. This is my new phone
Yeah.
number temporarily. Can you reply to this? Now that could come through on WhatsApp or text message. Obviously, I never reply to them. I don't have any children, so I'm not okay straight away. But it could
That you
it
know
could
of.
be easily like what are the ramifications of that? So you're not actually clicking on a link per se, but you are accepting a conversation from a stranger. What happens there?
Right. Okay. So that's it's quite we use the radio term. That's a good segue. Onto
Oh, you were going to go into that anyway.
yeah. There
Right,
is this.
okay.
So the text message or the phone calls you get, they
Yeah,
classed as the phone call is called vishing, which is VISHING.
got it.
Vishing. That's voice phishing. And the text message is called smishing, which is SMISHING, which is SMS messaging.
SMS,
So
yeah, yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
so that's what they go through there. So the way that works is, when you get a text message, whether it's from your so-called grandparents, children, or whatever, um, asking, "This is my new number. Could you please enter this as your new number?" And if somebody replies back saying, "Yeah, okay, I've noted this number," and you note it down as mum or dad or wife or whatever you want to call it, and then you'll get another text message from that number saying, I'm running out of petrol, Dad. Could you please transfer £10, $10, whatever?
Yeah.
And I've changed my bank account. Could you change it into here?" So this is how all that
Yeah.
works.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's preying on your good Christian soldier, and being nice. And if my son if if my son sent me a message saying, "Dad, I've changed my mobile number, um, and I'm running low on rent." Well, my son would usually say that anyway, so that's a terrible example. But if he was asking for something that doesn't usually ask for, that's when you start thinking about things. And we've had this where we talk about the phishing about, and it still goes on now. You'll get a strange phone call from someone claimed to be in HMRC, or you've been
Yeah.
involved in an accident, right?
Oh yeah.
Now,
What
these
accident?
ones, yeah, these ones, I absolutely, in my line of work and my experience, I absolutely love these phone calls because you just play around with them until you hear that boo when they put the phone down. So
Mm.
these are people preying on, and it usually happens to the older generation,
Yes,
where
indeed.
they're not
The people
very,
that are less tech savvy, yeah, for sure.
yeah. So poor Deirdre gets a phone call and they say, "Oh, HMRC, you owe us X amount. You've overpaid tax or something like that. Please go. Please, we'll send you a text with a link on it. Please go to it." So again, with the same with emails. As soon as you click on that link, it opens the contact list and all your details, and they'll in a way put a secret little camera in your phone so they can copy what you're texting to go into your bank details and things like that. So it is very scary, and big companies won't phone you up and ask you for details
No,
over the phone.
no,
It's just wrong.
no, no. That yeah, but again, they can be so committed, and sometimes they will give you a number they'll say that's fine. Like here's the number to call if you want to call our helpline, fraud
Mhm.
line, etc. And you think, oh, okay, fair enough. And then you call it, and then that's another way they get you. Again,
Yeah.
there can be another. Um, you could log on and sort of you could put the URL in for your bank if you, for example. But if there's
Mhm.
already something on there, it can redirect you internally to somewhere else, which I think is probably something you wanted to touch on, which was farming, wasn't it?
Yeah, and
So
that's another one. That's farming. That's where they redirect you. So again,
yeah,
this is not just business world. This is personal world as well.
yeah,
So
100%.
if I use, we'll go to Barclays again. You get an email from Barclays
We're not
saying,
picking on Barclays, by the
no, I'm not picking on
way.
Barclays. No, not picking on Barclays. I could just say three because I have problems with three. So, so,
Okay.
uh, but it's redirecting you somewhere. So, and they call it spoofing, and there's a technical word called demark and dekim. These are all these things. So if you, we're not going too technical, but if you have these settings somewhere in your configuration, this will make sure that when you get an email or when you go to a website, if it hasn't got a demark or a dekim on it, then you won't be able to access it. But getting away from the technical stuff, it's farming, which is another social engineering, is redirecting you somewhere else, pretending to be a company. So
Yeah.
where we were talking about where the font may be different, or the letter A may be different, or there may be a one or a five instead of an S and an I, and you click on it, that's farm. That's pushing you somewhere else, giving you the feeling that you're going to the right place. And when they push you somewhere else, that website might look exactly the same as the Barclays or the Three or the Amazon or Booking.com.
100%.
And then you suddenly go, okay, it must be real, and you carry on doing your stuff. You log in, you enter card details, you pretend to go and book you book a hotel, but for whatever reason the page fails, and they've got your details. And this is hard. This is farming. This is pushing you somewhere else,
Mhm.
making you feel you're really going to the real website when you're not.
I think it
So
all
that's one
boils.
of them.
Yeah, I think it all boils down to again. There's lots of ways you can try and be vigilant, if you
Hmm.
like. Ultimately, if you have any concerns at all, end the call or whatever, and
Hmm.
just Google their website. Don't call a number that you're given. Don't click on a link you're given. Don't reply to an email.
Yeah.
Call the number that is on their official. Go to their official website, call them, and they will very quickly say, "No, we
The,
absolutely are not trying
the
to take these
yeah
details from you."
the biggest thing I've seen in reference to telephone calls, if you get a phone call on a via a mobile number, so it starts at '07 or wherever it is, your mobile number starts with the country you're in,
Yeah,
and they say, "Hi, this is Phil from Barclays. you think to yourself, why are Barclays phoning me from a mobile number?
Yeah.
And there's these things you think about.
Yeah.
Why, if Barclays going to phone me, they'll phone me from a landline number
Mhm.
for a Manchester number or whatever number. They won't phone you from a mobile number.
No.
And that's the first thing. As soon as I see a mobile number come up on my phone and I answer it and they say, "Oh, this is Fred from Barclays," you suddenly think, why are you phoning me from a mobile number? You're a big business. Why are you phoning me from a mobile number?
Well, they can also use a mirroring service though as well, can't they? They can call you from a mobile phone number, but it will show up on your phone as what would look like the official
Hmm.
Barclays, like in my case, Lloyd's um, number. So you're like, oh, okay, yeah, that's the number they normally call me from. Don't give any details. Put the phone
Yeah,
down. Call them back.
yeah, yeah. Don't even say, "Can you give me the number and I'll call you back?"
No, because they'll just give you
No,
another
just
number.
say, I'm busy at the moment. I'll contact you. I'll contact Barclays directly."
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
and
It's
and so you might get that famous "doo" afterwards where they just disconnect the call because they've lost you. But
house
yeah,
of police.
yeah.
Yeah.
It comes down to the don't believe everything.
No, don't believe
Don't.
anything.
Yeah.
Basically, pretty much.
Yeah, you don't get anything in this world for free, especially if you get in the good old days when you got an email saying you're the last living relative of the
Oh yeah.
Nigerian prince.
Oh yes.
Yeah,
That
and
one.
if you give us your bank details, we can send you 2.5 million pounds in the bank account. So yeah, so
No,
it's not things like that.
I'm still waiting for mine. Yeah, that was a while ago. Keep
For
getting
some
loads of
reason, the
weird
money,
calls though, for
yeah,
some strange reason.
for some reason, money keeps going out of my bank account, which I don't know
I
about. Yes.
thought it was my missus.
Yeah. So there's a couple more I wanted to talk about, but I won't
Yeah,
go into too much detail.
yeah,
We got spear phishing. Now, have you ever heard
yeah.
that term, spear phishing? Now, sometimes when you hear it, it is literally what it says. The British saying it does what it exactly says on the tin. So
Mhm.
spear fishing is you've got a spear and you throw it into a pool of fish, and you catch that direct person. So that's the spear fishing. And uh, whale fishing is another one that in the business world is used. So a whale will gobble up a load of fish. What them whales call it? That big the big mouth, and they just
Basking. Do you mean like basking
yeah
sharks, things like that?
yeah
Yeah.
yeah where
Take up
where they just
plankton. So yeah.
so they just gobble up everything. So
Yeah.
that's mainly aimed at organizations. So if I'm targeting, we'll go on to, let's use someone else. Go to Amazon. Say I'm a
You're
hacker,
gonna say Barclays
right?
again, weren't
I was
you?
going to say Barclays again. Then let's go to Amazon. So if I wanna get some privileged credentials in Amazon, I will throw a phishing email at Amazon, and that'll be like a whale fish. I'm going to try and catch everybody else there. So there's lots of different kinds of way. There's another one called watering hole. Now that is putting something out there that's very tempting to see if people come along.
Okay.
Whereas a phishing, you're directing an email to a group of people or to a person. A watering hole is you're not directing it; you're just putting it there and see who comes to the watering hole or feeds.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
these are all the different kinds of phishing ones, all the social engineering. Um, and what I wanted to do, without going into too much detail on them, I wanted to tell you about an experience I had. I was working for a company, and they do yearly uh, social engineering things. Social engineering is something that involves physically doing something, right? So
Okay.
you may stand in a lift and listen to people, what people are talking about, or you may be
Oh,
on a train and listening to
okay.
what people talk. So when anybody phones me up, when I'm traveling down to London and somebody phones me up, work talk, I'll say I can't talk at the moment. Can
Yeah.
you call me
No.
back some of the time? But the amount of times I've seen people on the train with their laptops open and they're talking
Yeah.
away business wise, and you're thinking
Yeah.
this is confidential information. This is.
Hmm.
So I've got a couple of stories. One is when mentioned about social engineering, and this one company has this task where they employ a third-party company to try and get into their business, try and get into their head office in whatever means they want.
Okay.
So they could pretend to be a delivery company. They
Right.
could pretend to be an employee.
Yeah.
and see how far they get in, and see if anybody questions them.
Hmm.
Now, there has been a case again in that I've been made aware of, or a little bit in the last companies I've been in, where they've managed to get into the server room. And back in the days when we had a server room, because everything's up in the cloud, um,
Yes.
and they pretended to be a delivery driver. They got through the main reception, and then they pretended to then they tailgated somebody getting through a scan door.
Yeah. Use
So
their card. Yeah. Yeah.
if somebody's opened the door and you start running towards the door, they'll,
They'll hold
as
it
a
open
nice
for you.
person, they'll
Yeah.
hold it open for you,
Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
get in,
Yeah.
and they speak to find the server room, or they locate the server room, and they just speak to somebody really nicely, saying, um, most most people don't know the members of the IT team by name. So you could just go into an office and say, Simon told me. I was going to say Simon says then, but Simon told me to come up here to get into the server room, and could you pass him the code to get into the server room? So the person comes in, gives them the code. They go into the server room. They take a couple of photos of the server room. Don't do anything. Take a couple of pictures of the server room. Come all the way out, and then do a report to say they got all the way in. Now,
Yeah.
no, from my experience, nobody has been sacked for letting them in. It's more of an education of not to do it next time.
Mhm.
So it's these things I think are brilliant to do. Um, and I always, when I go to the different offices within my business, I always do something just to see if people, I say, who are you, or should you be here? Um, so it's quite interesting, but it's
I've
quite scary.
No, I've read a number of very similar stories of, like you say, people that maybe they'll sit in the car park for half hour to an hour, whatever, and then waiting for somebody to turn up, probably early, eight
Hmm.
o'clock, maybe before the receptionists are there. They should probably start. They probably get there at 8:30, get a cup of tea, start at 9 o'clock, and they'll like you said, tailgating in. They'll someone will hold the door. They look quite official. Oh, we're here from head office to have a look at the data center, or whatever. Use just because, like again, like you said, that a lot of people, particularly if it's just somebody that's working in the call center or something, for all they know, that could be legit, and they could take some phone numbers, or take some photos. Very, very similar stories. Um, in terms of telling a story from myself, nothing personally to me, but one of my friends did work for a company where I think she was the PA for the financial officer, CFO, I guess. She received an email from the CFO saying, "Can you pay this bill for me?"
Mm.
Paid it. It was, it was in five figures, which wasn't an insignificant amount for the company. But that all came from the CFO had clicked on a link somewhere, so somebody had access to their email. And this is going back
Hmm.
to the sort of email phishing, but in terms of telling a story, and then obviously they didn't lose their job because it wasn't them that clicked on the wrong link. But it just goes to show that they always say that one of the first information or cybersecurity exhibitions I went to, a big topic was what they call hack the human. It's the easiest
Yeah.
way. The easiest way into any network is through a person,
Hmm.
whether that's sometimes maybe leaving a USB lying around somewhere that's got something in it, and someone picks it up and says, "Oh, what's this? Let me just plug it into my laptop." All right, then all of a sudden you've got some ransomware on your laptop, or whether it's tailgating somebody. It's just due diligence, really. And then it's just an ongoing process for companies like yourself, where you've
Hmm.
got to try and make as much security awareness as possible, because the next training program you will do, from 6 months' time, the goals removed again.
Yeah, but and it's very, very true. And I was on my GDPR practitioners course a couple of months back, and one of the things the lecturer said, which I think is quite interesting, and depending on the type of person. So if you're walking down the street and you found a wallet on the floor,
Mhm.
had a passport, had a driving license, had some cash in it, and I'm not asking you, Steve, to tell me what you would do, but would the person, would you take the money? Would you give it to the police station? Would you put it in? Also, if you were walking down the street or you were on the train and there was a USB stick on the table or on the floor, now would you take it and plug it into your laptop just to see what's on it? Or
If I
would you
hadn't been made
or would you
aware,
bin it completely? So that's it. That's the phone. What would you do? Would you go, oh god, let me just there might be some details of banks and things like that and all that.
no, I mean, if I hadn't been made aware of the dangers of plugging a USB into your laptop, I would probably just throw it away. Prior to that, I probably would have plugged it in, not because I was hoping it'd have people's bank details on it. I'd probably just be curious. It might have had a film on it, which again is probably no better, but you just don't know, or you may have been able to find out whose USB it was. But I certainly wouldn't have been expected bank credential. But you think it's quite a harmless thing to do, plugging it into your laptop, because you don't think you're harming anybody. You're like, okay, look, what what's on there, and then so yeah, until I learned about those sort of things, and because it is something that does happen. Now I would I would get rid of it. Unfortunately, if you've lost it, it's not my fault.
No. I think we've had a good chat about that. So
Yeah, it's
what
been a
what I want
long
you to
episode
do,
than normally, but there is a lot of things there to cover, to be honest.
there is and uh, I could sit here and talk about these things for a long time, but I don't want to. I want to go and have some food, and I want to relax after my busy day at work. So, but
Yes.
getting some knowledge out there for people what to look
Yeah.
for,
Yeah.
and we we are in the Christmas period, but I don't want to scare everybody to say don't enjoy Christmas
Yeah.
because all these things are going to happen. All it is for you guys and girls and people out there to be aware that you can still enjoy the festive period, but just be careful. You wouldn't let a complete stranger into your house if you didn't know it. So don't let a complete stranger have your details.
That's a very
That's
good
true.
analogy. Now, are we
So,
going to end the episode on a
y-
slightly more light-hearted note, Terry?
yes, as we do, as this is the new thing we're bringing in, we're going to end it on a slightly humorous way. We're going to try and make Steve not tell jokes because he got it wrong last time. But have you got any interesting facts or interesting facts or quotes?
Do you know what's funny? If I think might have mentioned this last time. If any of my friends listen to our episodes, they'll be like, "This is all Steve's world. This is his wheelhouse. He loves telling random facts." There is one. There is another one, and I will try
Yeah,
and get this right. And it's quite a simple one, to be honest. And it is a random fact. Cleopatra, ancient
yeah.
queen of Egypt, she was born closer to the building of the first Pizza Hut than she was the building of the Great Pyramid of Egypt. In terms of not distant, in terms of time.
Wow.
There you
Another
go.
interesting
Well,
fact.
I find it
Eh,
really interesting.
Yeah.
That's the exact response that I get. Everyone, and they're like, "That's really not interesting at all."
But that's it. Interesting facts or interesting quotes and things like that. It's only interesting to you. To anybody else, it might be a complete waste of time. My
Indeed.
one,
Yeah.
my one is it can take 20 years to build a business, but it could take a second after a cyber incident to bring it down.
There we
So
go.
there we go. That's the same thing for personal life. You could spend years building up your inheritance or your investment, but one silly mistake and you'll lose it all. So that's why. There we go. And it's nearly Christmas, and there's lots of drinks
Yes.
available. Go to Christmas parties, especially the ones where there's free bar, and
Excellent.
enjoy your Christmas.
Yes, exactly. And yeah, thanks for the support so far, guys. We will see you in the new year, I guess. Have a good one,
Yeah,
Terry.
seeing you. Yeah, and we're all gonna be starting that famous diet on the 1st of January, aren't we? Yeah, my
Right,
diet.
for
Go
those who
to the
haven't got the
gym.
video, I'm shaking my head.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. Yeah. Yeah, it's that famous diet. You start on the 1st and go to the gym on the 1st, and within 4 days you decided it's a waste of time.
I'm okay.
Right.
Right.
Okay. We'll end it there. Thank you very much for joining, guys. Have a great Christmas and the New Year. And Steve, I'll let you sign off.
No, lovely. Thanks, guys. We'll catch up soon. Thanks, man.
All right. Bye bye.